In this video, I'm going to be showing you how you can customize the automation in Sports Photo Automation 8 using Photoshop Actions. What you would use Photoshop Actions for are for doing additional steps that are outside of what the standard processing does in Sports Photo Automation. And it's really anything that you want to use the actions for. There's different ways you can run the actions. The first way is you could run a pre-action on the player one image, and this is for single player composites only, and it will run an action on the player image before it puts the player into the template. The next way is you could run a post action on the composited image. Now this will run the action after the image has been composited, so after it's put any text into the image, and after it's put the player into the image, or the multiple players or the teams into the image as well. So you can use this for single player or for memory mates or for multiplayer composites. It will run the action before the file is flattened. So if you're saving a single layer format such as JPEG, this action will run before it's flattened. So that way you can run the action on specific layers that you want to. You can also run actions either pre or post from a CSV file. So if you're using the CSV data option, you could run different actions per image. So if you have teams with different colors, for example, you could run different actions on each of those teams. Now I don't show that in this video. That is meant for a separate video. In this video, I'm only going to be demonstrating the post action on the final composite. I've got another video that shows the actions on player one in the pre-action. After I make this video, I'm going to be making another one for the CSV actions option. But like I say, for this one, it's just for post actions on the composite. Now, I'll be showing a couple different actions. And the first one I'll be showing is just a vintage effect here. So we'll be applying this effect to the images in batch. I just chose something very basic that's easy to see for the video, but there's literally thousands of things that you could use actions for, and this is just one example. Now, in your actions drop-down, this first drop-down is your action sets. Those are the folders that you see in your action panel. And you won't see anything in the second drop-down until you select a set. And after you select a set, then you'll see all the actions that are within that set. So for this example, the ACR HDR actions, those actions are here. And once I select that in the drop-down, I'll see all of those actions that are under that set. Now, if you load new actions into your actions panel, or if you create a new action, you won't see those until you hit the Reset Actions dropdown, or until you restart Photoshop. So when this plugin is ran the first time after a Photoshop restart, it's going to load in these dropdowns, but then it won't load those in again until you hit Reset. So if you load any new actions in here, you'll have to hit Reset before you see those. And so for this example, we're going to run that vintage sepia effect here. First, I need to close the image. You see if I've got. Okay, this is where we're going to save it so we can watch the images saved there. Okay, I think I'm all set up and ready to go. So let's just run this batch. And it should drop right in the save folder there. Now it's going to take a little longer to process when you're running your own actions because it's going to add the time of the action running. So depending on how lengthy your actions are to run, it'll add that amount of time to each image. Now the next thing I'll show is the pause steps. So if you use pause on finished image, it's going to pause after the action runs. Unless you click this pause before action or pause before actions checkbox, then it will pause before the actions run. Let me demonstrate the difference here on that. It's pretty self-explanatory, but just to show you here. Okay, so now Photoshop is paused because we had that pause step checked, and we can look in our history here. So here is where it finished the template. So it ran all the steps first to build the composite. And then from here on, these are the steps that were inside of that Photoshop action. So it ran that afterwards. Then once we hit continue, it's going to save the image and then run the next image. I'm just going to hit stop here because I want to now demonstrate the difference here if we hit pause before actions and why you might want to choose that. And so now it's pausing Photoshop, but it's doing so before it runs the action. So there may be cases where you want to adjust things before the actions run. And so you might want to move your player or just be able to customize the position of each player. And it could be that your action is going to flatten the image, and so you would have to have it run after you've positioned your player. So in this case, we're stopped. So I position the player, and as soon as I hit continue, it's going to then run that action. And we'll see this drop in here with the player on the left side as we just moved them when it stopped. So then again, the next player loads in, and we can move and position the player or do whatever else we wanted to do. Because it's paused in Photoshop, you've got full control to do whatever you want. But once you're done with your editing and you hit continue, it's then just going to run the action and save the image. And so like I said, that was a very basic example, and you can do anything you want with those. I'm going to show you, though, another cool thing you can do, and that is with dynamic templates. I've got a whole series of videos on dynamic templates, on how to create those, and also I've got dynamic templates on the Pixnug website. I've even given some away to the Platinum Club as examples. But what dynamic templates are templates that are set up so that with one click you can change the look of the template. So for example, in this night game template, there are a whole bunch of actions that change the different colors in the template, and also that change the background graphics in the template. And then you can go a step further. Like for instance, let me just click on the red lights. If I hit play, it turns these lights red. Green year will turn the year text green. But you can go a step further and customize not only each individual element, but the entire scheme of that template. So if I click Hurricanes football, for example, it's going to put in a football field and change the colors to, obviously the Miami Hurricanes with the teal and the orange. Bruins soccer, we got a grass field with the UCLA Bruins colors. USA baseball, baseball field, red, white, and blue. And then we've got one that I just made for this video called Hornets football that puts in the colors for this team. And so this way you can have one template saved without having to make a separate copy of every single template, and then just have actions that change the look of that template. And so you could run these actions when you run SPA instead of saving a new template. And you could also in batch have it run a different action per player. So if you had different teams in the same batch. But for this example, I'm just going to, we're going to run with this template as it's saved here, and then use the Hornets action so that way it updates that template in batch. So let me close this here without saving. So I'm going to leave the pause on finished image checked, so that way we can just see the colors as they are edited in the template. I'll uncheck pause before actions. Let's select that Hornets football. I'm not going to replace any text because I don't have a CSV set up for this, so I've got enough videos that show that anyway. All right, that looks correct, so let's go ahead and run this. So you can see that it opened up that red, white, and blue template. But when it brings the player in, it's going to then run that action to change that to that template scheme that we wanted. So really, really cool. And you can also, of course, do that in a CSV as well and replace the text along with that action all in one CSV file. But anyway, pretty handy. And if you are interested at all in some of these dynamic templates, like I say, I have some of these that I've set up already on the PixNub website that come with these actions. And this night game template, this is one of them that comes with all of these actions. But there's several more on the website right now that each come with their own unique set of actions. And I'm releasing more as well in the future, so be on the lookout for those, as well as in the Platinum Club. I'll be giving out a few more of these over the course of the next year with these dynamic actions set up that can do actually quite a bit more than what you're seeing here. There's just a lot you can do with this and a lot you can do with actions. Super powerful. There's stuff that you can do with actions that I've not even shown yet that I'm kind of keeping to myself right now until I'm ready to show them. I've got some things in the works, but just be on the lookout for those because there's really cool dynamic stuff you can do. So anyways, thanks for watching. And if you're not familiar with the Sports Photo Automation plugin, please be sure to visit our website. That is pixnub.com.